What is the best way to negotiate price with manufacturers? The best way that we've found to negotiate price, and we talk about this, and let me see here, I think it's in week 15. Yeah, so if you go to the week 15 module, you can skip ahead right to this one because I know we have the initial outreach, which is I think week 7. But if you want, you can kind of like skip ahead through here and read this one as well. Is play big fish. There's a lot of different stuff here, like what types of questions to ask, things like that. But what I would say is something that works really well for negotiating is to pit different manufacturers against each other. So if you have quotes from 3 different suppliers, one of them is for $5, one's for $3, and one's for $2. Maybe you really like the quality or the potential of the $5. This is a real world example I'm giving you from one of my students. It's actually one of the students that's in the program right now who's a little bit further down the road. 3 different suppliers, all good quality, but they like the $5 one the best. You can kind of, pit them all against each other and say, hey, I also have a quote from this supplier for $3. You don't have to say the name of the supplier. In fact, I probably wouldn't say the name of the supplier. You could say, I have a quote from another supplier for $3 at minimum order quantity of 500 units, and another quote from another supplier at $2.67 for 900 units. Just say like what they're quoting you. You could even take a little screenshot if you wanted to of what they're quoting you. And then you just kind of got to sell them on it. The hard thing about the negotiation is it really depends on the size of the factory or the trading company. If you're working with a trading company, if it's a really big established factory that does high volume, it's going to be harder to negotiate with a small fish just because simply they don't really need your business. I mean, obviously it's good for them and they're going to continue to look for new business, but they're not desperate for your business. However, these smaller factories who don't do as much volume, they're a lot more desperate for new business. So they're a lot easier to negotiate with. However, I will say this to you guys, you need to be careful with the smaller factories. You need to be careful with the factories that are almost too willing to do what you ask, because that can be a big red flag. What we've seen with people working with smaller factories is these smaller factories, and there's spammers on Alibaba. There's spammers on there that are trying to, catfish, take your money, right? So with these smaller factories who are like, oh yeah, we can do that. Oh yeah, we can do that. Yeah, we can do that. We can do that. And just like promise you the world. Be very careful with them, because what those ones usually will do, those are usually the stories you hear where it's like too good to be true almost, where a student gets a quote, a really great quote. They're like, oh my gosh, I'm getting this for $2. How on earth? Like, this is a crazy good deal. I have to go to this factory. They order a sample. They get a really good sample, because these small factories, they'll do anything to get your money and impress you. So they'll make a really good sample for you at a crazy good price that like, you're like, oh my gosh, like this is absolutely mind blowing. So then you turn around, you place an order for 1,000 units, and the 1,000 units that you order show up looking like garbage, because again, they're trying to win your business, and then they'll kind of screw you over on the big order. It happens all the time to people. So that's why we talk about, protecting yourself by ordering the smallest order quantity you can for your first order. Even though you might think, hey, I'm going to sell this like hotcakes, start with the lowest quantity you can for that specific reason. So you can check to make sure you're not getting screwed by one of these smaller factories that they don't deliver the same quality as their sample was. Also, getting as many photos as you can. Say, I want 15 different photos of the product. I want to see it being made. I want to see every single side of it. I want to see it in the packaging. I want to see it inside the big boxes shipping to me. You want photos, ask for videos. You're allowed to ask for all that stuff to get the best idea possible beforehand. As far as negotiating price as well, this also applies to shipping. I'm just going to throw this in there. You're not going to know this is very common now post COVID. Ridiculous shipping rates, like crazy high shipping rates. Yes, shipping rates have gone up, but a lot of factories are screwing over people, claiming that COVID has jacked up their shipping rates when they're actually pocketing money from shipping. For example, is what they'll do is they'll say, I see this crap happening all the time now. So what they'll do is they'll say something like, they'll quote a customer a pretty good price, right, to win their business, but then they'll turn around and say, and a lot of times they won't tell you this until they've actually made your product. If you're not smart, you need to be smart and get all the information up front, because if you place an order for 1,000 units at $2 a unit because it's a great deal, but you don't know the shipping cost, so what they're going to do is they're going to make those 1,000 units for you. Then they're going to come back and send you an email and say, hey, we made your 1,000 units. They're ready to ship. I'm sorry, but COVID just really jacked up our shipping costs, and shipping's going to be $2,500. And now what do? Now you're screwed because you already ordered your product. So now what? Like you either eat the $2,000 you just spent, or you fork over $2,500 for shipping, and now you're not making any money. So they'll do crap like that if you don't get a solid quote and lock it in up front, get it in writing, lock it in up front. But also you need to get quotes from other factories. Do not just get quotes from 5 different factories for cost of product and don't ask about shipping. I see people doing that where they'll get quotes from different people and say, how much is it to make my product? Oh, $2, $3, whatever. So then they're like, oh, cool. I found the best factory. I got my sample. I did it. You go with them and then you get your shipping and it's ridiculous. And you're like, well, now I'm screwed. You need to get quotes for cost of product and cost of shipping from all your different factories you're getting quotes from, so you can compare. And I would recommend, I think I say this on the website module as well, is get cost per kilo quotes for the different shipping methods. So air express, air freight, boat freight, cost per kilo. Because if you just do cost of 500 units, they could box it up different. Like there could be some differences between how they're shipping. If you get a cost per kilo quote for your zip code, then you can make a really, really good direct comparison, because a factory will say cost per kilo air express to your zip code. They'll put it in their system. It'll be $9.80. You go to a different factory, cost per kilo air express is $7.50. And now you can see different factories get different rates. Like that's a very real thing. Depending on how much volume they're doing, how much shipping they're doing, they can get better rates from FedEx and UPS. So it's something to keep in mind, is make sure you're getting those shipping quotes and comparing them so you know who you're getting the best rates with as well.